As someone who's been gaming on Xbox for roughly 20 years, whereas 14 of those have been spent achievement hunting and a whole 10 years collecting way too many games, I think the time has come to explore other consoles. But let's stick with my favorite, the 7th gen. So we did a Game Shelf video highlighting our PS3 collection last year, but we haven't really done a proper deep dive so far. And hey, I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm still somewhat of a PS3 noob, but that's not going to stop me from finding new favorites on a console I've never really played on before. And my approach here was to narrow down the games I absolutely wanted to play, and then just go from there. And looking at our PS3 collection versus something like our Xbox 360 collection was such a relief, since we only chose to do exclusives there and not multi-platform games. In other words, it's much smaller and far more manageable. So let's check out some games. Alright, so let's get started. First game that I been eyeing for a while here, and another one of those kind of adventure games, very narrative driven. And that game is Beyond Two Souls. I don't know what it is, but I've just been eyeing this game for such a long time, and I just saw, oh look, there's Willem Dafoe. So yeah, it's probably why. Great actor. So, and then Ellen Page, or Elliot Page, I guess it is now. But this is a Quantic Dream game. So yeah, just been really interested in playing this one, but I just never gotten around to it, and I will definitely do that soon. And then we also have the Steelbook, which probably everyone has as well. I think this is one of the most common Steelbooks around. So I don't think any of these had a manual. So I guess this is it. I guess whatever this is on the left side here. But I think, like I said, yeah, it's very readily available. And the next one here, I think this one is also very famous, or is it infamous? But yeah, definitely one that took us a little bit to find. It wasn't readily available everywhere, especially not on PS3. And that is Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls. A little bit harder to say, I guess. But yeah, this one is a must-have in your PS3 collection, I am pretty sure. And I think this is supposed to be one of the harder Souls games. But I obviously have not played this one, but yeah, this one is really cool. And then next here, jumping to a very famous series, of course, and I think a lot of people play PlayStation because of this series, and that is God of War. And this is the God of War collection with God of War 1 and God of War 2. And I guess it had a voucher for the God of War 3 demo here, or E3 2009 demo. So yeah, this one is pretty cool. And I didn't quite know if I wanted to start with this one, but I looked at our PS2 collection. I guess we don't have God of War 1 and 2, and I don't know why. They seem like games that we should have, but at least we have this one, so you guys can let me know if it's worth just playing the PS3 collection here, or just play the original on PS2. And then we have, of course, God of War 3. This one I've been eyeing for a long time, just been wanting to play this one. Oops, I just messed this one up here. So yeah, again, just hack and slash games, right? Very, very famous games. I don't know much else about it, so I've unfortunately never played any God of War games. That's going to be the theme here, of course. That's why I'm doing this. This is my discovery session with you guys, where I just kind of go through our collection here and the games that I've just been always wanting to play and never got around to, because I, in a sense, was sort of stuck on Xbox doing my thing over there. So yeah, so this is pretty exciting. And then here we have God of War Ascension. I think this is a prequel, if I'm not mistaken. So we did pick this one up at some point, like last year or a couple of years ago, I think. So I didn't know much about it then, but just, again, God of War game, so I had to have it. And I do think we're still missing one God of War physical, at least. I think it's called Saga, perhaps, but I don't actually know if all of it is on disc. I think there's some download codes and stuff, but there's maybe some PSP games on there, I think. So, but we'll probably get it eventually if it's a little bit lower price. I think it ranges like 30 to 35, at least from what I've seen. So, but God of War is definitely a series that I've been wanting to get into, and you know, probably start on PS2 or, you know, start with the collection on PS3 here. And then moving on, we have Heavenly Sword. I think this was a pretty early PS3 game, exclusive of course. So, and this is Ninja Theory. And I did look at some gameplay of this, and yeah, it's hack and slash, and I thought maybe it would be similar to Enslaved or something like that, or even Hellblade. But yeah, it looks pretty unique, so I definitely want to play this one. And a lot of people have said that this is a very good game. So yeah, like I said, very early PS3 title there. And then here is another one that also has caught my attention for the longest time, and just again never gotten around to it, and that's Heavy Rain. And I think this is another Quantic Dream, and I keep like hitting the stack back here when I move the cases here. So yeah, another Quantic Dream, and really the only Quantic Dream game that I played was Indigo Prophecy a long time ago, and it has this little thing in here, so that's pretty cool. So, you know, we try to have complete, you know, on all the consoles that we collect for, and yeah, so this one is pretty cool as well. You know, again, very readily available. I think it's very easy to find these, most of them at least. I don't think any of these are rare at all. And then next one, again, you know, just kind of been looming in the background there, and just been wanting and waiting in the wings to get in my hands here, and that's Infamous. Of course, another exclusive. This one I've always just seemed like it would be a really fun game, and yeah, again, very cheap game, and a must-have, I think, in any collection. But I think most people enjoyed these games, you know, as far as I know. So, you know, probably a reason why I really wanted to have them, and it kind of seems like my style of game as well, and just kind of superpowers and open world, and yeah, but that's pretty much all I know about it, really. So, and then of course we had Infamous 2, the sequel, and it had Uncharted 3, the beta here, multiplayer beta of all things. So, yep, that is that. That's pretty cool. We got some of these games from a PS3 collector as well, way back over either Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or something like that, and you know, he kept these in good shape. So, you know, it kind of became the start of our PS3 collecting as well. So it's great to always get stuff from another collector that took good care of them. The next one here is Journey Collector's Edition. I think we actually got that from that same collector. So this has Journey and Flower, I believe, is the other game. So, but this one is really cool. And I've actually seen this one at GameStop, and this is the reversible case, it looks like. Here are the artwork. So let me see. Yeah, so it has that. But yeah, so yeah, there's Flower, and what does that say? Flow? What is this? So that's pretty cool. So it has both games on there, too, as far as I know. And yeah, this one has been Game of the Year, and always wanted to play this one, never got around to it, but I'm so happy that we have the physical, and it's in great shape as well. And then here we have more of my style, I guess, you know, just these shooters that, again, they've always looked really cool, and I've always wanted to play these guys. And that's Killzone 2. We also have Killzone 1 on PS2. I made sure to get that one. I don't know how different Killzone the first one is from these guys, but yeah, they've always looked cool. Like I said, these are the types of games that I would play. I don't know if they're more similar to Call of Duty or more similar to something like Crysis. I don't know. It just kind of stands out to me as maybe more similar to a Crysis type game, but still looks pretty cool. And then here is Killzone 3. So I think some of these games have multiplayer as well, and I don't know if it's been shut down, but I recently hit a pretty major milestone on Xbox, and I don't think I want to get to that point with platinums and trophies and stuff like that, so I'm just going to enjoy my games and not worry too much about it, and I'm sure I will have a better time with them as well. So yeah, that's Killzone 3. And then last one in this stack is, of course, you know, I think this is probably seemingly everyone's favorite game on PlayStation, at least. So that is The Last of Us. You know, it would be weird if we didn't have this game. I think that's something we made absolutely sure to pick up. And yeah, very, very excited to play this one. It's kind of crazy, as much stuff as I've heard about this game, and I never thought to play it, you know, and it's been re-released a couple of times too. So yeah, that is kind of crazy, yeah, that I'm holding this game and I've never played it. So, but you know, again, that's kind of how it goes. Okay, so let's move on to the other stack here, and kind of going through them pretty quickly because I don't really have much to say about them. I just want to kind of show the ones that I've always been interested in playing, and I'm, you know, again, glad that we have them in the collection already, so I don't have to like go game hunting for them. But here is Little Big Planet, and Scarole, she's been telling me that she doesn't know if I'll like these games, but I still want to give them a try. I don't know if they're like your typical platformer, but I know that she enjoys these games. But I don't know. I mean, it always seems like something that you should play. And, you know, obviously I had Sackboy here before I covered him up with, with the stack of games over here. So Sackboy was present for a little bit, but yeah. So I don't know. Let me know, should I play Little Big Planet, or is it just like, you know, should I skip it if I'm more, you know, I do like platformers, but I don't know what to expect of this one if, you know, I trust her judgment and I trust her recommendations. So if she says that I might not like it as much, then, you know, maybe I'll try it and see. But, and here's the Game of the Year edition. I think this comes with a bunch of DLC and stuff, and I don't think this one was expensive either. Kind of similar to the regular edition or standard edition. So yeah, but it's cool, you know, anytime we can find stuff like this, why not, right? Just get the stuff that has DLC on disc and whatever else. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then of course we have also Little Big Planet 2. I don't know what games I should try with the PlayStation Move, but you know, I never even played Kinect, so I don't know why I would even mess around with the PlayStation Move. So just play my games normally, I guess, and then there you have it. So, but yeah, this one is cool. I don't know if this is better than the first one, but you know, if I like the first one, I'm sure I will like this one as well. All right, and lastly, for the Little Big Planet here, we have Little Big Planet Karting, and again, I would assume this is like Mario Kart kind of thing, and it took us a little bit to find this one. Like, it wasn't, you know, as easy to find as the other ones, but and I don't know if this one is more rare or not, but you don't really see this one everywhere. So but yeah, I don't know, maybe this could be like a family game to try, and again, PlayStation Move, so whatever, I guess, but we'll see. All right, moving on to the next tier, we have Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. And yeah, this was a PS3 exclusive, and I don't think they've ported or remastered this one, so it's a little bit surprising. So, but I think from listening to you guys, like, I think this sounds like it's a pretty good game. So I've played some of the newer Metal Gear, but I haven't played this one, and but you know, I just want to kind of go back and play all of them. I really like the new ones, and I have friends who swear by the old ones and say that the new ones are not that good, but I think that's pretty typical with those kind of things. You know, if you're a fan of the originals, then whenever they change up something or modernize it, it's not going to be that person's favorite. So, but speaking of that, I mean, this is probably one of our cooler editions that we have in our PS3 collection, and that's the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection, so 1987 to 2012. So, and this one is still sealed. We got that from that collector that I spoke about earlier, and that's pretty cool. So we just never opened this one, but I'm just so impressed with what is that, 10 games on here? So Metal Gear, Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, and then Metal Gear Solid. I can't even read half of this stuff here, but yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, 4. So the Metal Gear Solid 4 is on here as well. And then you have Peace Walker. Yeah, so this one is awesome. If I can get through all of this, then I would be very impressed, I guess. But it's still a really cool one to have. I think it's probably one of my favorites in the PS3 collection. So again, you know, having it in that condition as well is pretty awesome. Okay. Let's check out the next one here, and this is a shooter that I, for some reason, We didn't have this for the longest time, and then I just decided to get all 3 of them. And I think we got most of them from GameStop, actually, so they do have them still, I guess. And that's Resistance Fall of Man. And I definitely know this is an exclusive, of course. So yeah, pretty interesting premise for this one, but I don't know a whole lot about this. But yeah, this one is pretty cool. Resistance, but I know it's a first-person shooter, so, but I think it is something out of the ordinary, at least. It's not like your typical first-person shooter, as far as I know. And then we have Resistance 2, same thing. America's Forever Lost. That's not good. So we have that here. Yeah, I think we got this one from GameStop, so good shape, manual and everything. So, you know, this is probably one of the earlier ones as well, but, you know, we're getting to, like, the newer stuff here. And here's Resistance 3. And this one looks like it's 3D compatible, so like some games had at that time. So that must have been, like, 2010, 2011 maybe. I even had a 3D TV at some point, and it's kind of funny because not too many years ago, like, I sold that TV. I still had it up until like maybe 2021, and then someone actually paid good money for that 3D TV from, I don't know what it was, 2014. But it was a great TV, so, you know, didn't play a whole lot of 3D games though, but I guess you can play Resistance 3 on there, or with that type of TV. But yeah, looking forward to playing all 3 of those games. And then here, of course, a game that needs no introduction. This is Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. Of course, we had to have the Uncharted games as well. You know, I'm definitely looking forward to playing these games. It's, again, shocking that I have never played Uncharted. I've just been seeing people talk about it and looking at gameplay, and then I was like, when am I going to play these games? But maybe now's the time. You know, well, it should be the time. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not just doing this for show and tell. I'm doing it because I want to play these games. All right, and here is Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. And is this like everyone's favorite? I don't know. I feel like I've heard that people say Uncharted 2 is the best one, but could be Uncharted 4 as well. I think a lot of people like that one. So, and then let's see. So Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, yeah, and whatever this is, a little. Okay, it's just a regular manual. I thought it was like a pouch or something. So there you have that. And then, of course, oh, this one's sealed. I thought it was in a plastic bag or something. Yeah, so we have a sealed copy of Uncharted 3, I guess. So yeah, Drake's Deception. Again, I don't know. I'm sure this one is good as well. And then we also have the Steelbook. So we picked this one up, and I always thought this was like Lord of the Rings or something, but I guess this ring has something to do with Uncharted 3. So there you go. But we have a few Steelbooks, but not too many on the PS3. But there you have it. Those are the games that I've been dying to play, really, on the PS3, and now I'm finally doing it. So in the next section here, I picked 5 of these games, and I actually played them, and we're going to check out my first impressions. And the very first PS3 game that I decided to play and jump straight into was Resistance Fall of Man. And this is an Insomniac game, a first-person shooter, and it was a launch title in 2006. And it kind of has an interesting alternate history going on here. So it takes place in around the World War II era, right afterwards, but it's kind of pretending like World War II never happened, but instead it's kind of this alien invasion instead, and your main character gets infected, at least as far as I've gotten into the game. He gets infected by this alien virus, and then he gets abilities, I guess. But I'm not quite sure what that is yet, if that's just health regen. Does he get stronger? Does he have superpowers? I'm not quite sure yet. So, but what surprised me the most here, and I'd mentioned that previously, like, I'm not really going to go for trophies or anything, but I guess this game doesn't have any trophies, and they never patched it in like I know they did to some games. But it kind of surprised me that a lot of these early PS3 games didn't have trophy support or anything like that. So I'm guessing that's because the PS3 didn't have trophies at launch. But anyway, yeah, so that was a little bit surprising, but I guess that's how it goes. But for me, at least, my first impressions of this one, it sort of has this early Call of Duty vibe. You know, it's not, I wouldn't say the gameplay is like Call of Duty, but it just has that vibe to it. And then, you know, I'm going to bring up Turning Point in here because I do think it has some of that. And maybe now I can see that Turning Point maybe was inspired by this game a little bit, which also has an alternate reality where, you know, the Germans won World War II. But obviously, this is far better than a game like Turning Point. And, you know, it does remind me of the shooters that I played on the Xbox 360, you know, between 2007, 2008. Obviously, this was a little bit earlier. So maybe this game inspired a lot of those shooters. I thought it was kind of more Call of Duty stuff, but yeah, it almost looks like Resistance was the inspiration for a lot of those. But overall, like, I think I actually really like it so far, and I would continue playing this game, absolutely. And for being an early PS3 title, I thought the graphics were still pretty decent, actually, and good controls. Gameplay overall was good as well. And, you know, based on my limited experience with a PS3 controller, I think this was a good game to start with, actually, because I feel like it had pretty simple controls as well. And, you know, at any time a shooter, you know, it's just a first-person shooter, so it's not going to be overly complicated. But I think for me, this was a good game to start with. So, so after playing this one, definitely want to go back to it. And I'm curious now, actually, how different the sequels are going to be. But overall, good first impression on this game. And the second game that I decided to try on the PS3, and I just had to. I just felt like it. I felt like this would be a good fit. And that is Infamous. So Infamous is a game by Sucker Punch, and it's an open world third-person action-adventure game released in 2009. It's kind of the opening intro. So you play as a guy who survives a massive explosion and you gain electrical superpowers from it. And I immediately, you know, as soon as I started playing, I got, you know, Prototype vibes. I feel like he sounds like Alex Mercer even from Prototype. So, but again, I think those games came out around the same time. So, but you know, it's not a bad thing. I do like Prototypes, so I definitely got that vibe from it. And what kind of surprised me about this, and maybe I just never looked into it too much, but I didn't know this game had like a karma system. So as soon as that kind of started happening in the game, and where, hey, do you want to be good or bad in this situation? So I thought that was a nice little twist to it, a nice little addition that I wasn't expecting. And, you know, as soon as I kind of realized this, you know, I was good at first and I started just kind of messing around a little bit, and as soon as that happened, I got like a bad rating, and you know, I went from like a savior to like a thug or something. I don't know what the ratings were, but that overall seems really fun, and I was kind of playing around with each side for a little bit, and so you can essentially be a hero or an anti-hero in this game. So I thought that was really cool. I definitely like what I played so far, but I sort of expected it based on kind of what I knew about the game, minus the karma system, which actually is much cooler than I expected. So again, the controls I thought were good, and you know, now I'm just at the point where I just want to unlock more powers and see what I can do, wreak havoc, or am I going to be a good guy, you know, throughout the game. So I'm sure there's like trophies associated with stuff like that, which, you know, it's pretty typical when you have to choose a side. But I think I actually unlocked a couple of trophies, but you know, it's just kind of whatever at this point, I guess. But so yeah, so far this is a good start. So we're 2 for 2 here. I've liked both the first games that I played. So, and Infamous is definitely a game that I'm gonna have a ton of fun with. And for the third game, I felt like changing it up a little bit because I was just kind of looking at the stacks of games and decided I need to have, you know, kind of different genres, different games to go back to that, you know, won't be in a similar style. And that game is Heavy Rain. And this is a game by Quantic Dream, and it's an adventure style game released in 2010. So people always say to play these Quantic Dream games, and I know they've been re-released on newer consoles as well, but I haven't actually played any Quantic Dream games since Indigo Prophecy, and which I seriously need to replay that one as well, because it's been such a long time. And I actually don't remember too much of that story, or if it's even similar to these types of games. But I thought it'd be nice to have an adventure game to play alongside a shooter or whatever else I decided to play here. And so far, yeah, I've chosen a shooter, and I chose like an open world action adventure game, and now we have more of a narrative style adventure game here. So far at least, you know, from what I've played of this game, I've been able to get out of bed, I took a shower, and now I essentially have no idea what I'm supposed to do. So I walked around in my home for a little bit, and then my game froze for some reason. So that was great. So maybe I was trying to go to the bathroom or something, and then the game froze and didn't like what I was doing. But I have to say the controls are a little bit weird so far, and I think it's probably something I'll get used to over time. But I haven't even gotten to the QTEs yet. I'm just pressing up and down and opening cabinets and eating grapes or whatever, you know. So I'm guessing this is also going to be kind of like a slow burn for the first 2-3 hours to get to know the characters and, you know, all that intro stuff. So that's pretty typical, I think, for a game like this. But so far, I haven't seen anything too eventful, at least, so I just got to make sure I can boot up the game again before it freezes. So not sure what caused that, but, you know, that's kind of what happens sometimes. So, but, you know, since I played many of these types of games before, I'm sure we'll get to the good parts soon enough, and, you know, I'll keep playing it. But like first impressions, I'm just not sure how I feel about it yet, but you know, you guys can let me know if I'm wrong here, if it's just kind of one of those weird intros that, you know, kind of takes a little bit to get used to, and just stick with it, and hopefully there will be a reward there somewhere. So yeah, a little bit weird so far, but I will probably give it another go. All right, the next game, and this is game number 4. See, I've been busy playing PS3, I guess. So, you know, I just want to jump in and just get to experience a lot at once here. But, so of course, I had to kind of do one of the big series as well. And that is Uncharted Drake's Fortune. And this is a game by Naughty Dog, and it's a third-person shooter action-adventure game. And it was released in 2007. So this game needs no introduction, especially not for me coming in as a PS3 freshman here, but I felt like this would be a good place to start with these games. And I did actually play a little bit of the remastered version briefly on PS4, but only enough to unlock maybe a couple trophies or whatever, and I don't really remember much of that experience. And if I'm going to get into this series at some point, which is right now, I might as well start with the very first one. And I'll have to say, so far, this is the type of game I needed to play right now. And so chances are I'll focus quite a bit on this one going forward. And, you know, first and foremost, just so I can catch up on this series, because there's so many good ones coming up. And, you know, it's always going to be a little bit of trial and error, I'm sure, with the first one in this series. So, but, you know, I'm completely new to it, so I'll go into it expecting things to be good, and if they're not as good, then I'm sure I'll realize that too. But so far, it seems like really fun gameplay, puzzles, platforming, like I mentioned. Not a ton of combat sections yet. I think it was like the opening sequence on the boat. It was a little bit of shooting and some melee combat and stuff. So, but I'm sure there's going to be a ton of it eventually. But and of course, there's going to be a lot of scripted stuff. You know, it's something to expect. But at least I know what to expect because I've played games like this before. So I just hope the story holds up in the end, and you know, the characters are as likable as people say. But so far, yeah, I definitely can tell this is my style of game, and I'm looking forward to playing more of these types of games. But I gotta finish this one first though. And the final game that I chose, I wasn't going to pick this game yet. I kind of wanted to wait, savor it a little bit, but then I was like, why am I waiting? I've been waiting like 12 years for this. What's the purpose? What's the point of waiting any longer? And that is The Last of Us. And this is a game by Naughty Dog once again. It's a action horror third-person shooter mixed with some stealth and all those things. And it was released in 2013. Right before the PS4 came out, and I decided to play the original on PS3, and that's kind of been my plan the whole time. But you know, obviously, no, it's been re-released, remastered on multiple consoles, PS4, PS5, and chances are I'll probably play it on those consoles as well. There's no denying that this is probably the one I've been looking forward to the most. And on paper, this has pretty much all the genres I like in a game. So like I said, the horror element, the third-person shooter, and then a good story, of course, and then the stealth in there as well. So, and I love most post-apocalyptic settings in movies, TV shows, or of course video games. So, and from what I played so far, it hasn't disappointed at all. So, unfortunately though, I should mention that like it's been so long since this game came out that lately, for some reason, I've come across way too many spoilers for this game, and I've been able to not know anything about what happens in this story for so long. But then I think once the TV show came out, then everyone's like wanted to spoil everything, or I just came across the wrong videos. So unfortunately, yeah, I know kind of what happens, but I'm hoping I can still enjoy the journey, because it's not just about the destination, right? It's about the journey as well. So, and I think the only minor thing that I wanted to comment on, for a game that was released in 2013, it doesn't look all that great. For the most part, I would say it looks pretty bad, and it's very minor. Like I said, it's probably not going to take away from the experience and stuff like that, but it kind of makes sense now why they remastered this game so quickly on the PS4 and so many times over. But like I said, minor complaint really, but I noticed that it was just not the prettiest looking game, at least 12 years later, playing on a PS3. So but overall, love the setting so far, and absolutely thrilled to finally be playing this game. I am beyond excited. Alright, that's going to be it for today, and I hope you enjoyed my little PS3 discovery session here, my first experience with a console. And as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did I pick the right games to start, or do you have other recommendations for us? I'll catch you guys later, and thanks for stopping by.